It's not about immigration. It's about terror, and it's about distraction. It's about trying to blame black and brown people for the economic hardship when it's billionaires are the ones that are stealing all of our nation's wealth and hoarding it for themselves. I mean, that's what this is about. It's just another smoke and mirrors distraction, but this time it's actually costing people's lives, and it's gone too far. It's reprehensible. And ICE just needs to get out.
All right, back on TYT. So now we're going to talk to Minnesota State Rep. His name is Alex Falconer. He's a member of the Minnesota Democratic Farmer Labor Party, which is fun. Minnesota has that. He represents District 49A in the southwestern Twin Cities metropolitan area. So Alex, welcome to the show, brother.
Hey, thanks a lot. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. So Alex, the Washington Examiner says that you are one of the agitators who is helping to run a resistance network in Minneapolis. That sounds badass. So is that true?
Yeah. Guilty as charged, I guess. I can't find anywhere to cash my Soros check, but somebody might take it somewhere.
Okay, so Alex, let's take it one step at a time. So we'll come back to that. Yeah. So how'd you get into politics in the first place?
Oh, well, I've just been politically active all my life. In college, I was on the college Dems. That's when Senator Wellstone's plane went down. Obviously tragic, but carried it forward. Started working for the Democratic Party in Minnesota, like you said, the Democratic Farmer Labor Party, the DFL as we call it. About 20 years ago, was field organizer, candidate manager, working across the country for different races. And just eventually my current state rep retired, and I was just kind of like, hey, you know what, here's my shot. So just decided to get into it. It was just something that I'd always kind of considered, wanted to serve the community, do what I could to serve my community. So here we are.
All right, I love it. We encourage people to run. I love that you did run. And so, was it extraordinarily difficult or not when you ran?
My district, no, it's a relatively blue district. It was pretty safe. I did have 3 opponents going into our party's endorsing convention, and then one of them stayed into the primary. So mostly it was door knocking and getting everything ready for the primary in August. We have kind of a late primary in Minnesota. So it kind of killed my summer, but so it goes. And then obviously came out the victor there. And then, first term, you never know, or first election, never know what's going to happen. So definitely did everything that I could, all the door knocking, all the phone calls, all the events to make sure that I got the win locked in. So it was fun. It's something that I'd done for other candidates for like a lot of my career. And it was just time for for my name on the ballot. And have to flip the script and be told what to do instead of telling other people what to do. So that's probably like the hardest thing is candidate brain takes over, you get silly, crazy ideas, and then somebody says, no, don't do that. And I'll be like, oh yeah, I would have also told me not to, so.
Yeah, all right, that's awesome. I love that you did that. All right, let's go to what the Washington Examiner wrote, then I'll have you respond to it specifically. They said DFL State Rep Alex Falconer, who represents Eden Prairie, publicly acknowledged that he's helping to run, quote, a resistance network on Signal. We have a couple of groups on the app Signal that we'd love for you to join, Falconer recently told residents at an anti-ICE community meeting. Now they've got more, but so how do you respond to those charges?
I mean, is there something illegal about being in a chat group? I mean, this is a bunch of people that are just everyday citizens, just church ladies, your grocery store clerks, the bus driver. I mean, these are just my neighbors. These are people that are just concerned about our community members being targeted just because they're black and brown, being scooped up off the streets. The kids 5 years old being detained and used as bait so that to draw their dad out, and now that kid is in the concentration camp in Texas. Like, if there's something wrong with people banding together in the face of fascism to protect our neighbors, fine, sign me up. That's me.
Yeah, I think you should be very proud of that, actually. Okay, so you were an organizer before, you organized folks in Minnesota. So tell us what happened on the ground. So when did you guys first hear that ICE and Border Patrol were headed to Minneapolis, and what was your reaction? And then we'll go through the timeline of what happened.
Yeah, so Operation Metro Surge, whatever fun name they pick out for this operation, started early December. I think the 2nd or the 3rd they announced it, and right away agents were on the ground. We were noticing them just driving around in their very dark tinted SUVs, a lot of out-of-state license plates, a lot of cars with missing license plates. We had documented and watched them switch out license plates, trying to evade people that were tracking cars, which, hey, that's illegal. I mean, we've got one picture where there's 2 cars side by side with identical license plates. I mean, they're not even very good at this. So pretty obvious what they're up to. So we started getting active. We were seeing immediately they started the hardest hitting activity in Minneapolis and St. Paul and kind of the inner city area there in the metro area, and we're in the suburbs, but we knew it was coming. We were seeing other instances and notices of people being abducted and harassed in kind of nearby communities. And so at that point, we were just like, we got to get something ready. So I reached out to a couple other people that are really involved in kind of grassroots organizing and politics, and was like, we got to set something up. So really just invented it on our own. We talked to some people from Chicago who had this go on and what their response was and how they worked it, and got some helpful tips and just the it's out there. The resistance is run on Signal. So the Signal chats that we have, and it started getting organized. And within like a day, I had 40, 50 people, all from my community, that just want to do something, do anything. And at that point, we're still just kind of being like, we're just gonna wait and see. Here we are, kind of get ready. There's a bunch of trainings of what it means to be a constitutional observer, which is just simply a person and their phone standing on a sidewalk, videoing our law enforcement, or quote unquote law enforcement, doing their activities in our public, on our streets. Nothing wrong with that, First Amendment. So we're kind of getting prepared, teaching people what to do. And then the first big instance in my area was December 13th, and ICE agents were out kind of trolling around. They saw 2 Hispanic or Latino men on top of a roof at a construction site. This is December in Minnesota. It was very cold. I think the high that day was -6. And they put up a perimeter police tape. They're not police, but they put up police tape. They wouldn't allow anybody to get there to help them down, and they more or less just trap them on the roof. And it was essentially, you're either going to freeze to death or you're going to come down, and we're going to detain you. The workers, I mean, my God, these guys, whether or not they knew it, absolute heroes for what they did, because within, I let my group know, within a half hour, we had 20, 30 people outside with whistles, trying to challenge the ICE agents there, just asking, hey, do you have a judicial warrant? Like, if they're after the worst of the worst, they're in the system. Like, they know they committed a crime. They have their name. They, everything that goes when somebody builds a case and does the casework and the documentation. They didn't have any of that. We asked them, do you know what their name is? They didn't know that. So it's clearly racial profiling. They trapped these 2 guys on the roof, wouldn't let them come down under threat of being abducted. 5 hours later, one of them, over that course of time, we're up to probably 50, 60 people that are outside. And people were just flooding in, and they were bringing, just out of the goodness of their heart, bringing hand warmers, bringing blankets, hoping that if there was some way that we could get something to these guys. But in doing that presence, then ICE had to draw in more agents, and the standoff lasted for like 5 hours. And then finally, one of them succumbed. Hypothermia was setting in. He had to come down. They took him by ambulance to the hospital, and ICE followed and detained him from in the hospital itself. And then the other guy, we were able to wait out ICE. They left. We got him down, and some heroic people drove him home.
Yeah. So look.
So, yeah, that's how it started, at least in my area.
Yeah. So we'll get to the shootings in a second. But so Alex, first of all, I totally get it. You're the state representative. So what you're doing with your community is representing them. organizing them, leading them. I mean, I think that's what a good representative is supposed to do. So then people can argue on the right, well, yeah, but I don't like what your community thinks, and I don't like that you're organizing them and you're leading them, but that's kind of their problem. So now, at the same time, let's talk about some of the bigger issues here, and then I want to get to Renee Good and Alex Freddy and what happened next. So. The right wing says, well, I mean, you guys are interfering with law enforcement. Though your whistles are annoying them, the protests are, you're getting in their way. So what's your response to that, Alex?
Too bad. No, there's nothing illegal about blowing a whistle. There's nothing illegal about letting people know that these masked anonymous ghouls are traipsing about the neighborhood, going door to door, sometimes setting up checkpoints, demanding people's papers before they'll let them go on their way. Like, that's the illegal thing. People should be upset about that, not about people banding together and trying to protect kids from getting abducted at bus stops, from trying to protect workers that are in their jobs. They're working at major corporations, shopping centers that you need paperwork to be legit and to work. They're perfectly legal. They have a job, they have immigration papers, they're going through the process, and they're being stopped, detained, abducted, sent to Texas within days. That's the illegal stuff. We're out just trying to do what we can to stop this from happening, to slow it down, to frustrate it, sure. But the fact that they run away when we start blowing our whistles because they don't know who it is that they're actually trying to find. And then they turn around and say, "Oh, the whistles were annoying." It's like, okay. I mean, I saw somebody comment, a veterinarian was like, "Hey, I get barked and growled and bit every single day, but I don't shoot the dog." Like, you have a job. There's certain hazards and obstacles about it, but you're still supposed to do the job professionally and do it right. And they just are not.
Yeah. So. Alex, they would also say, but these are undocumented immigrants, and ICE is supposed to pick them up, or Border Patrol is supposed to pick them up. So why do you guys want the undocumented immigrants to stay?
It's not really about undocumented or documented. It's about the human tragedy of all of this. We've had so many periods of just moments in the country of deportation where people were deported without having to go door by door, storming an entire community. There's 3,000 ICE agents in Minnesota. The 10 highest populated police districts in the state don't have 3,000 officers. Like, this is a military occupation, a paramilitary of poorly trained, lethally armed goons that are just rampaging in our streets. So it's not a matter of documented or undocumented. It's about how they're going about it, and it's also the fact that the majority of the people that they are arresting and detaining have no criminal background. The minority of them are undocumented. Most of them are here. They have legal paperwork. They're in the process. I mean, they're even arresting people at their immigration check-ins at the courthouse. They're doing everything right. They're doing by the book. They're showing up to the court to go through their immigration process, bringing their paperwork, and they're getting arrested, detained, and sent to these concentration camps. Like, that's just reprehensible. And when they're not doing anything in any sort of targeted way, they're not going after the worst of the worst only. They're operating on some sort of a quota system, scooping up Black and brown folks and hauling them away. That's abominable, and we're not going to stand for it.
Yeah, so I want to clarify a couple of things for the audience, then I'm going to ask you about what happened when Renee Good was shot. So first off, there's a couple of different layers here, guys. So there's the undocumented immigrants who are committed a crime and are criminals. Some of them are serious criminals. So they were the first ones that were taken out. So when you see Kristi Noem, instead of talking about, oh, we're just in Minneapolis to get child pedophiles and stuff, that's nonsense. That's not true, right? So they did do that earlier. But we're not at that stage at all. But also, Representative Falconer is making a really important point. So some of them are just undocumented and have gone through the process or didn't go through the process and are here without papers. The others are actually in the middle of going through the process. So they're actually following the law and it's the federal government that's breaking the law. And Alex, that reminded me of what Martin Luther King used to say about civil disobedience that they did in the South, because he said, yeah, we're doing civil disobedience, and the cops are, of course, in Selma, they beat them halfway to death and had sick the dogs on them, et cetera, and often arrest them. But he's like, but we're not actually breaking the law. The federal law in that case was on their side. It was the local authorities that were breaking the law. Now it's reversed. It's the federal authorities that are often breaking the law. And so there's, if you're, and even so, Alex, you guys aren't really disobeying them, right? You're out there protesting, you're speaking, you're blowing whistles, but at no point is there anything that I've seen. You could argue Alex Freddy 11 days before he got shot shouldn't have kicked out a taillight, but my God, is that a minor infraction, right? Yeah. So certainly not worth getting executed over, or really, I mean, they didn't even bother to arrest him. That's how minor the infraction was. And so now, I just wanted to give that background. Now we go to Renee Good. A lot of folks are already in the streets. You're already protesting, trying to protect your neighbors, et cetera. So what happened on the ground? What was the feeling? What was the reaction after Renee Good was shot?
I mean, it was shock and horror. And just absolute anger at how they so obviously and quickly tried to lie about it and to spin it in a way. I mean, the first thing they said within minutes before the crime scene was even fully investigated, before the body was even moved, they were calling her a terrorist, and just trying to label as if she was in there to run over the agent, and he was fearing for his life. I mean, every video that you can see out there has him standing from the side, leaning in. There was clearly no danger, and none of shooting a vehicle that's fleeing is not in their manual of how they're supposed to operate. And just the fact that they were trying to gaslight us immediately, trying to do this, and that's just one of the important things that we're trying to do. Like the whole anti-ICE movement, whatever, is people looking out for their own constitutional rights. Like, we know we cannot trust this federal government. They're going to lie to us. They lie to us every single day. So we're out there with our phones to document, because if something happens, we have the truth. And that's what we're trying to do. So yeah, people were upset, but in all of that still, we know they're trying to get to a point where they're trying to provoke, so that if somebody lashes back and strikes at one of them, that's going to be their trigger to escalate and try to do that. And so everything that we're doing is just try to stay calm. So, we've peaceful protests, peaceful marches, candlelight vigils, but then the whole mutual aid side of all of our community response groups, of just making sure that the people that are left behind have food. Have rental assistance, can go about their lives, that their kids can go to school. Like, everything that we're trying to do in the face of this is it's bringing people together. I think that's the other thing. They don't realize what they're doing is they are uniting Minnesota under one banner, like we've never been united before. And if there's a silver lining, it's that if there's this phrase of Minnesota nice, they're all just kind of happy-go-lucky, get along. It's like, sure, maybe. We're affable folk. We got to survive harsh winters. But Minnesota nice is not just quiet compliance. We're not going to let them storm through our communities. It's Minnesota nice is standing up for our communities. It's working with our neighbors to protect kids at the bus stops. It's making. Yesterday, I had to help a woman get prenatal care because the day previous she was followed by ICE. They boxed her in the parking lot, wouldn't let her get out of her car, so she drove off. Thankfully, didn't get out. Had to drive through 3 different cities before they finally left her alone, hiding at somebody's house. And we had to arrange for a doula to go in to give her just basic checkup care. Like, this is what people are upset about, that women who are expecting are afraid to go to the doctor. Kids are afraid to go to school. People are afraid to go to work. Like this, we're terrorized, we're occupied. And so the anger is real. But at the same time, we know that we've got to keep it in check, and we're doing everything we can to stay peaceful and calm. And above all else, everything that we're trying to do is legal.
Yeah, so 2 things about that. I was gonna ask you about the unity, and I'm gonna ask you in a second, but I don't think you guys have gotten enough credit because they always want to find like the smallest little infraction and go, aha, they had it coming. You know, Renee Good said something, or her partner said something sarcastic. Good enough, kill him. No, not anywhere near good enough, not even close, right? And so, but no one is noting the fact that, wait, there was nobody throwing bricks through store windows, there was no fires, there was no riots. I think overall, it couldn't have been more Minnesota nice. I thought it was, and I do sometimes criticize protests when they go too far and they give the government an excuse to crack down more. And I don't think you guys did that at all in Minnesota. I thought it was amazing. But I want to go back to the unity point because I was going to ask you about it just as you brought it up. Is there any split in the community? Are there Republicans going, oh, I can't believe you guys, you're being so mean to ICE, or are you just not seeing that anywhere in Minnesota?
Well, I mean, in the real world, no, I don't think anybody is excited about anything that ICE is going on. And as the legislator, I went to the Chamber of Commerce events for my town, Republican oriented, business oriented, talking about tax policy, talking about more traditional economic conservative issues. But people that I know are Republicans were coming up to me and said, "This is not what we voted for. Like this is too far." People are upset. These are our neighbors. These are our community. Like if somebody hasn't had it personally touch them, ask one person and it's touched them. I mean, we're at a first ring of a degree of separation for how this is impacting people. So no, I mean, if you check my Facebook feed, yeah, it seems like there's a lot of people that are upset, but they're either bots, they're not from Minnesota, or they're just anonymous online trolls. That get off on just doing whatever it is that they do behind their screen to agitate and to call names. But Minnesotans in the real world here, no, we're fed up with this. It's not okay. The polling shows that, the action in the street shows that. I mean, every morning there's people on every corner just looking out for the neighbors, and that's the peaceful resistance that we're trying to cultivate and just make sure that stays the safest way that we can do this.
Yeah. So speaking of Minnesota nice, we finally get to Alex Freddy. So guy is a nurse for veterans. His job is to literally take care of people and tend to them. In the first video we saw of the shooting, what's he doing? He's protecting the women that were there along with him, trying to get one of them back up when ICE confronts him. Even in the video where he's angry, which by the way, he has every right to be angry, and he does something he shouldn't do, he kicks the tire and he kicks the taillight. Again, tiniest infractions I can imagine. And I'm not the only one who thinks that. Border Patrol got out of the car, apprehended him, and then chose not to arrest him for it because they thought it was so minor, right? So, but even in that video, the very first thing he does when the Border Patrol finally leaves is he goes and turns to the other person and says, "Everybody okay? Everybody safe?" So yeah. When Alex was shot and killed, tell me about the second wave of outrage, sadness, and what happened on the ground in Minneapolis.
I mean, so it's just trauma layered upon trauma. On this one, with Renee, it was horrific and bad in every sense of the word. With Alex, again, here we are. I mean, and just to step back, on Friday last week, we had 50,000 people marching through Minneapolis. It was cold, but we were there. And doing our constitutional right, making our voices heard, staying very peaceful throughout it all. Target Center, the basketball arena, was filled up with people. By the time I got there, halfway through the march, I mean, that's where there was a program after. It was just a massive movement, peaceful. It was beautiful. People coming together, voicing their frustration. Like there we were, peaceful moment. The next day, they shot and killed Alex. So again, just anger, just outrage. People immediately in the community, get to the scene. We had some of our other legislative members more proximal to the area there, just trying to help and de-escalate, try to keep people calm. And by and large, it turned into what could have easily devolved into a riot, turning into a vigil. The memorial gets set up, and it is what it is. I mean, the state is devastated. It's sad. The federal government is killing our own people, and they're not investigating who it is, anything about the incident. They're not sharing information with our investigations here in the state. It's unbelievable. It just keeps sinking into me. This is like, how did we get here? What is going on? Is this America? And right now in Minnesota, it doesn't feel like it. It's hard to fathom what's going on here. And so I think now it's become more of a somber reality. People are sad. They're disgusted with this. We're exhausted. It's been 2 months of this hell, of this occupation. But I've felt within the communities and the response networks that we have, the resolve growing. People are still out there, still doing things. New people are still joining. Every time one of these incidents happens, we get an influx of new people they're just finally like, I have to do it. I have to step up now, and doing everything that we can. So
yeah,
it's tragedy upon tragedy. It's sad. It's horrific. It's heartbreaking, and that's what's happening to Minnesotans. But we're gonna get through it.
So
best as we can.
Yeah, Representative Falconer. So you guys did an amazing job of resisting the occupation, and it looks like you pushed it back. Now it's not 100% yet, and Trump just today was like, "No way, we're not backing away." And but certainly Holman was saying that they are going to. So what's your sense of where we are? Do you think that we're close to a drawdown here, or are they going to resurge? What do you guys see and hearing on the streets?
I mean, yeah, the little guy left, Bovino, but Holman coming in, he's just a new face, same Gestapo as far as we're concerned. I mean, this morning, alerts of buses being stalked by ICE in my community. Yesterday, the woman I had to help get prenatal care. Cities and towns nearby, same thing going on. Like, we've noticed absolutely no difference in how ICE is acting and behaving. The numbers here, how they're going about it, they're still going door to door. They're still driving checkpoints. I'll believe it when I see it, but I mean, can you believe anything that comes out of this administration and what they say? It really just seems like they try to put a new face on the issue to try to get the Senate to do their little stopgap deal and buy some time. I think if anything, that was the only goal, but it's still the exact same on the ground. Nothing has changed.
Yeah, Alex, do you even think this is about immigration, or do you think the actual point is the occupation?
No, oh my gosh, I can't imagine this is anything about immigration. I mean, there's so many metrics about talking about Minneapolis is this most overrun city in the country, and immediately fact checking, PolitiFact, whoever it was puts it up. It's like, no, Minneapolis is 78th for the densest, most immigrant or undocumented people in the country. It's not about it. It's about terror. It's about trying to prove a point. I think they tried to walk into Minnesota, think that they were just going to roll over us. Turns out, no. This is a land settled by Vikings. We're not going to lay this down. The refugees that are here from war-torn countries are not going to let a peaceful life that they came to Minnesota slip through their fingers. The Native people, they're here first, that survived genocide. Like, they've got their land and what they're trying to believe and the lives that they want to lead. Like, we're not these little passive little weenies that, I don't know.
Yeah.
We're Minnesota. We're here. We're not gonna take this.
Yeah.
It's not about immigration. It's about terror, and it's about distraction. It's about trying to blame Black and brown people for the economic hardship when it's billionaires that are the ones that are stealing all of our nation's wealth and hoarding it for themselves. I mean, that's what this is about. It's just another smoke and mirrors distraction, but this time it's actually costing people's lives, and it's gone too far. It's reprehensible, and ICE just needs to get out.
We're in a crazy time where we're now talking to representatives from the occupied cities of America. I mean, that is wild. Not what we would have guessed 10 years ago if our life depended on it, right? And so it is an amazing time. Super last thing, I've suggested building a statue of Alex Freddy. Any thoughts about that? Any chance that happens in Minneapolis at some point?
I don't know. Right now, it's so day to day, minute by minute. I mean, it's just one of these things. We just wake up and it's just like, what are we gonna have to deal with today? So ideally, there'll be a time when they finally leave our state alone. Our people can breathe, and we can think about what's going to come next. If it's a statue, if it's an honorary memorial, whatever it is. But both Alex and Renee deserve to be remembered going forward. It's tragic what's happened to them. Their lives can't be lost in vain. If there's ever to be a martyr, a movement is built on top of the hope to overcome this tragedy and keep our state and community together.
Yeah, and the reason I say that is because, look, a lot of veterans lost their lives in what they thought was defending freedom. In the past, it really was defending freedom. These days, it's mainly aggressive wars in the Middle East for another country. But I think Alex, Freddy, and Renee Good lost their lives defending freedom here at home. And so that's a huge deal. That is not a small thing. So Alex, on behalf of the rest of the country, thank you to you and to Minnesota, and of course to them, for fighting the good fight and fighting it in my opinion, in the right way. It's Americans who are voicing their opinion, who are undaunted, fearless, but also, just not giving the government an excuse to commit more violence and more occupation. I just think you almost couldn't have done it any better. So again, if I can, on behalf of the country, thank you, brother.
Oh yeah, thanks so much. And we are so heartened by the outpouring of love and support we're beginning. I mean, the chant in Boston of "We're cold and not afraid." Minnesota showed us how to be brave. Going on. I mean, those sort of things, those showings of solidarity, really do matter. This isn't how I wanted Minnesota getting Bruce Springsteen's canon, but the support and the love and everything that we have going on and coming at us, and everything that people are wishing for us and holding us up is valued. So thanks so much for having me on. Let me tell our story, and hopefully, stick with us. Minnesota's part of the United States, and we need you all as well.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Representative Alex Falconer, member of the DFL, representing District 49A in Minnesota. Thank you, brother. We appreciate you.
All right, thanks a lot, Jen. Thanks.
No problem. All right, guys, I am going to do a bonus episode for the members, so stay right here. If you're a member, I'm going to, speaking of protests, for those of you who haven't heard it, I want to tell you the story of when I went to go protest during Elian Gonzalez drama in Florida. If you haven't heard that story, that is an amazing story. So hit the join button below on YouTube or wherever you're watching, tyt.com/join. I'll see you in a minute.